happening, guys? Chael Sonnen here, and you need to know when you're the greatest podcast in the world today, they got a name for you. They don't call you a great podcast. They call you the Gentleman Podcast. Beat that if you can.
Welcome, everybody, to the most up-and-coming podcast this side of the Western Hemisphere. Brian, Pete, Eddie, Gary. We are the Gentlemen.
This is the podcast.
Before we start, please like, follow, and subscribe on all our social media platforms. It really means a lot to us. This week's episode, we're going to talk about this upcoming Saturday's UFC card, all the breaking MLB news, a little bit of news from the WWE, and a new wrinkle to the Core 4, which we feel like you guys are really, really going to enjoy. But please, before we start, like, follow, subscribe, share everything you could. Let everybody know about the Gentleman this time. So let's get right into the breaking MLB news. Pete, take it away.
So we had some positive news come out today. John Heyman tweeted that the players and the union agreed to a deal, which was later corrected to they're making very good momentum. Apparently the latest proposal is a 60-game from the MLB union. There's a 60-game season with full prorated pay, season beginning on July 19th, expanded playoffs for this year and next year. And they want the Players Association to agree to waive any possible lawsuits or grievances that they could file. So, this pretty much gives the players what they want, 100% full prorated pay. It also gives them the expanded playoffs they want. They just don't want the 60 games. They want to up that number to north of 70, possibly even 80. That's what they want. If they could get to that number, then it's going to get agreed on any second. What do you guys think?
Should have been done months ago, man. Bottom line.
I just feel like there's always something else. Like once they say 70, then are they going to mention something else that they want?
No. This is the first time the owners have offered 100% prorated pay. They've never offered 100% before. The most recent one was 70 and 83 if they go to the playoffs. Now they went all the way up to 100. So this is big progress.
I wonder why.
Because I'm 100% on the player's side now. I've moved. I'm all on the player's side.
Okay.
From the beginning of this, when we really didn't get details, I was kind of like, why aren't they accepted? All players' side, the owners messed this whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna do a pie chart of blame, the owners are getting most of the blame. They put out these offers that they knew weren't gonna get accepted, but to the public, hey, the owners are making offers. Players weren't accepting it. The owners are thinking about the short game. They're not thinking about long term. The owners think about, we're not gonna make that much money. The Marlins gave Giancarlo Stanton almost $300 million contract, and then saying they were broke, sold their franchise for $1 billion. So I think the owners can make their money back with all of this eventually. Mm-hmm. But you know what's going to hurt your franchise value? Not playing baseball. The owners messed this whole thing up. They're at fault for this. They tried to put the blame on the players. It backfired on them. People smartened up about it. This is all the owners' fault. They screwed this up. They could be the only sport in town right now. Everybody, they lost so many fans through the years because of all like the stuff, because NBA and NFL is more popular. They had this window for everybody to be talking about MLB, and so what? You guys don't have money for this short term. All right, next year you'll have more fans that could have watched you that wouldn't normally watch baseball invest in you guys, and you guys could have made even more money next year. So you aren't going to make a little bit of money, but you're going to play your employees. Minor league baseball players and minor league people are losing their jobs also. Nobody's talking about that because the owners set these bad offers, and then the MLB players are understanding, like, you guys made agreement with us. Don't back out of it. So I've had a hashtag all over social media that I'm not going to say right now because it's the kid show in the words of Brian, but that's what I got to say.
Keep preaching, man.
Well,
you're right.
I will say this. I do want to add this for the record. If this was any other year, this negotiation would have been done weeks ago, even months ago. The fact that it was this year during COVID-19, unfortunately, the Players Association, Union, and the MLB owners and Rob Manfred weren't able to meet face-to-face in person. And I'll tell you, the best negotiations are done in person. This entire time, they've been going back and forth through email.
It's ridiculous. It's 100% ridiculous, man.
It's true. Nothing gets done through email. It's very unpersonal. You know, you can't really view the emotion on the other person's face when they're sending an offer through email. If this was last year, a couple of years ago, and they were negotiating face-to-face in a cloosed room in person, this would have all been wrapped up months ago.
Circa Randy Levine back in '94, man. I mean,
Tony Clockett and Manfred meeting today
was in person.
And it was big. That was a big
And look what happened. They had their first meeting in person, and they finally are very, very close to a deal. They finally have some positive momentum.
The real question we should all be asking is, why did it take this fucking long to take, man? Like, I don't understand.
They were afraid of COVID. They didn't want to meet in the same room together.
Excuses, man. It was always a new excuse every other week, if not, man.
And listen, if this whole thing was about COVID, this whole thing was about, listen, I don't feel safe playing. Like I said with basketball. Okay, everybody's safety and your family's safety. I understand. You say what you want about how you feel about the virus. If that was your fear, your health, that's fine. But the players are actually the ones thinking long term, because they're thinking about the CBA in 2022. The owners are thinking about, oh man, we're not going to make that much money this year. Well, you know what? You could set yourself up for the deeper down in the years to come, because everybody's craving sports. MLB could be on right now. Everybody could, the ratings they would be getting would be crazy, and then people would be invested from now through the end, and they'll be. It kind of would go back to the McGuire Sosa thing. You'd have more eyeballs on the product. The owners aren't thinking that. The owners are thinking about their pockets, and people are losing jobs, so the owners can save money. I'm sick of it. It's not the players' job to make up for the owners. It's not. It's not. It is the players' job to make the product better for the owners, so the owners' franchises are more valuable.
Couldn't have better, man.
The only player I'm not excusing is Blake Snell from what he.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
So that was coming a mile away, man.
But Blake Snell, what you said had nothing to do with money. What you said was just about when the virus thing was early on. You had nothing to say about money. So your thing wasn't about the money in the beginning. So.
He should never play ball again in the MLB. I hope he gets hit by a bus. Not killed, but hurt very badly.
Wow. That's impressive.
Listen, we've been talking about that. I'm sorry to go on a rant on the owners. Still love baseball, but it's just.
It is what it is, though, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, this is all going to leave a bitter taste in everybody's mouths, man. It doesn't matter how they could bandage it all they want. And it's kind of ironic, especially how now they were finally able, both sides, to finally meet in person somehow, going back to the whole email thing, which is just ridiculous to even think about it. The professionalism in that itself is just outrageous, man. Like,
exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Get on a conference call.
Seriously, though, man.
Do this.
But, I mean,
not even on a Zoom meeting. They didn't even do Zoom. They did email.
It's crazy, though.
This is why Adam Silver is the best commissioner in sports.
And this whole thing is really showing that too, man. Like,
because what did he do when things started getting rolling? There was a little friction. He got on the phone with the players himself. The owner and the players spoke, and they hashed it out. This is why Adam Silver is the best commissioner.
I can't imagine Manfred doing that.
No,
because Manfred doesn't show any type of leadership skills. Thing, man.
Manfred's lucky Roger Goodell's a commissioner, because then he'd be the worst commissioner.
Oh my God!
I'm questioning if Manfred is even a fan of the sport of baseball. I mean, didn't he call the World Series trophy a couple years ago just a piece of metal?
That's right. That's right.
Seriously.
You know, since we're on the topic, and I was listening to Chael Sonnen, friend of the pod. I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he was talking about how Dana White doesn't get nearly as much enough praise as he should when it comes to stuff like this. So obviously, major league sports, baseball, football, big organizations, obviously the salaries for those players, you can't even compare that in UFC fighters. However, it's still relevant to the sport. But Dana White, he was so prepared even during this pandemic. Chael was talking about how, Masvidal and Jones, they're asking for more money, and so many people are going at Dana White saying, hey, you should be paying them more. But you have to look at the fact that he was so prepared that even through this, he's continuing to pay the people, and they're still putting on events. So you have to applaud that.
And they're losing money on these events.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still doing it, so his people can keep jobs. The Marlins got rid of 300 people through through the minor league system today, where the players are workers. Like, it's crazy. And I can't. Oh, sorry, Bryce. Go, because I'm going on. No, Bryce, say it.
No, you guys brought up a good point about Manfred. Is he even a fan of the sport? Like Dana White, obviously he's a fan of the sport.
Yeah.
You know,
There's no one.
You need a leader who's into whatever they're leading. You know.
Yeah, there's no one that works harder than Dana White, in my opinion, as far as getting his sport out there. I mean, the UFC doesn't make a fraction of the money that all the other sports make, but it doesn't matter. The guy works hard.
Best promoter ever, Dana White.
And he's a true fan.
I agree with you, man. I mean, look at under all the circumstances that have happened these past 3 to 4 months, man. Guess what his plan B was? Fight Island in Abu Dhabi.
Mortal Kombat.
That is ridiculous, man.
You got to give it to him. And I'm not the biggest Dana White fan. There are some things that he does I think are questionable, but you can't really can't say anything about his integrity or his love for the sport. You can't.
I agree with you, man. And you know what? Being how we do like to do goat of the weeks, as of right now, Dana White is the goat of the year so far, man. I'll go out to say that.
You're right.
I compare him to Adam Silver. Adam Silver loves basketball.
What about Joe Silva?
We'll get to him later. But Adam Silver loves basketball, and he loves his product the way Dana White does, and he loves the sport.
He loves basketball.
And look at the
He's
progress.
also a proven Knicks fan, too, so I kind of question that one, too, man.
And look at the progress from NBA. For weeks ago, they've been talking about, probably even we're going on, like a month or two. Where are we going? The bubble. Are we doing Vegas? They've been talking about it. Progress. Look at all the others. Look at baseball.
And there's progress because he spoke to his athletes, and he spoke to his top ones. Listen, there's a reason why we don't get political on this. We want this to be an escape and everything that's going on. But even with that stuff, he speaks to his players about that stuff, and you got to commend that. MLB missed the boat. On Saturday, after a fight, UFC takes over SportsCenter. That's all they did. MLB could be right there. Right now, there could be baseball games on.
You know, I read something. I think I heard that the Cynthia Calvillo and Jessica Ai, that was the number one viewed thing on Saturday night, and that's a women's fight. Not to take anything away from them, but
they're not the biggest women fighters.
A non-title women's fight was the number one most watched thing on TV. Baseball could be taken over.
I'm not surprised. It's the only live sporting event on TV right now.
I know.
So.
Beautiful point, man.
They were pushing towards that. They would not have a season baseball. I keep saying it. Then why would ESPN pay for their rights if their ratings are falling? They don't want the broadcast. Yeah. And you could be on like a network like Versus back in the day, or where the Stanley Cup was. You could be showing games on Lifetime. Yankees, Red Sox could be on Lifetime. Give me a break.
Yankees, Red Sox, and then TNA Impact right after.
There you go.
Great lineup right there.
But this year, baseball missed the boat. Coming into this year, before all this COVID nonsense, baseball was set up to have one of their most anticipated years because of the off season they had, because of the young players coming up, and baseball missed that season. Listen, we can't say anything. The virus took away a lot of that.
Yeah.
But they could have right now been really capitalized on it as much as they could. And this was just a bad year for baseball, no matter what happens.
Yeah, Gary, we touched upon this last episode very briefly, but it's really something I wanted to go more in depth with. We talked last episode about how after the 1994 strike that MLB had, they needed something to come into the sport of baseball and really save the MLB and get the fan base back and the viewers back. And they got that in 98 with the home run chase between McGwire and Sosa. Now we're in 2020 now. Once again, history repeats itself, just like Eddie said last week. History repeats itself. What's going to come into baseball? What's going to come into the MLB now and save the sport? Get the viewers back. Get the fan base back. And like Gary said last week, we were just about to enter probably one of the most anticipated baseball seasons of all time. You know, the amount of prospects that were called up last year and the year before, potential superstars in the making. You had Juan Soto being called up 2 years ago, turning into a superstar. Last year, Keston Hiura, Bo Bichette. You know, these names are endless.
Acuna and all that.
Ronald Acuna, yeah.
Not to mention the backlash from Houston.
Yes.
Yeah. All that stuff.
Well, I didn't even get to that. I'm just focusing on the prospects right now. The sheer number of amazing prospects.
Alonso hitting all those home runs.
Pete Alonso coming out of nowhere, breaking the rookie home run record. Gleyber Torres about to hit his prime.
These are beasts. Everybody mentioned.
The Red Sox, even though they got rid of Mookie, they still had a lot of good young talent on their team. Like,
on top of all that, Yankees finally got their ace, Garrett Cole. It was set up to be the Yankees and Dodgers being the two best teams, classic rivalry, Dodgers-Yankees, possibly in the World Series this year. All the backlash against Houston, it was going to be very exciting and interesting to see what was going to happen this year, and all of that was taken away from us. And I'm not saying because of COVID. I'm saying because of greed.
Losing out on Mike Trout's prime also. One of the arguably greatest players ever, losing out on his prime.
Lots of players are in their prime, and we're missing out on seeing them play. It's very
also
unfortunate.
like a little under storylines like the Cubs. The Cubs were thinking about trading away Chris Bryant, rebuilding their team. Who knows what would have happened with that in the pennant race? The Cubs are out of it. They make a move.
Right, that's right.
Chris Bryant somewhere. Like little things like that. Baseball was really every Astro game was going to be a must-see TV.
Yeah.
Like
for all the wrong reasons on their
I know, but still.
Away games.
But still, like, baseball games in June, which would not matter. Like, an actual game in June was going to be must-see TV.
You talking about June? I'm talking about April, May, man.
Yeah.
Those games would have been.
Listen, every Astro game not in Houston would be must-see TV, just to see how the fans in the other stadium reacts to them.
Even how the players react to them.
The players too, yeah.
And baseball missed out. On it, and they could have. They could be doing this right now. And greed. Another question with baseball I want to ask is if the season does happen, which I don't want to jump ahead of it yet. I don't want to jinx myself. If a team wins the World Series, is there an asterisk next to it?
Yeah, I think so.
Gary, I think that's a segment in itself right there. That's way too complex to talk about right now.
I think to make it simple, yes, asterisk, 100%.
I think it depends on how the season shapes up.
I don't know, man. If it's not 162,
but everybody's going through the same thing.
Hey, the trophy is just a piece of metal anyway, so what does it matter?
Oh, I see what you did.
I
see what you did there.
But when sports coming back, I stress this to sports fans. Make your stance now about how you feel about a championship. An Astros. If you feel, even with NBA, NHL, if something happens with football, MLB. Before the season starts, before it restarts, set your stance now if you feel like that championship is tainted. Like, I feel like whoever wins the NBA championship, it's a legitimate championship. It's a legit championship.
Because the difference is all they're doing is resuming their system.
Yeah. Most of the season was played already.
Yeah, so even I'm not a big LeBron fan. I respect him, but I'm not a big fan. And I know there's going to be LeBron haters that if he wins, are going to say it doesn't count. And if he loses, say the championship counts. I don't want any of that. You make your stance for everything yourselves.
Well, Gary, you say it's an asterisk this year. Eddie, you also agree with Gary as well, right?
I say no asterisk.
Oh, you say no asterisk?
No,
for baseball.
No asterisk for baseball, any sport. It's even playing field. They're going through the same.
I can't say the same for baseball.
Well, Brian, what do you think? Is it a true World Series, a true champion that wins the World Series this year? Are they considered a true champion?
As much as I'd like to say yes, I don't believe so because they don't go through a whole year's worth of hard work and getting to the playoffs, getting to the World Series. There's a lot that goes into it. So as much as I want to say yes, I don't truly believe so. But
well, I definitely want to revisit this conversation later on in the season. I want to talk about this again, see if our opinions have changed. Gary says no. I also say no. Eddie says yes. Brian says yes. So.
Only thing I say will be a little different is if somebody hits like 400 or somebody's ERA is like really low, then you vote. But like everybody's going through the same sprint and grind.
70 games, anybody can hit 400, man. Just saying.
Listen, it's gonna be a sprint. The one thing, every game's gonna mean something.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, that's the only exciting part, man. But it's just hard to buy in not putting an asterisk on this season overall, man. Just between all the bullshit, man.
So to wrap this subject up, a wise man once said, to summarize this whole baseball thing, it's an economy inside of an economy. A wise man with his own name on his beer right now said that.
God bless America.
Ed Sedente.
Yeah.
Well, we do have live sports on Saturday. We have the UFC keeps pumping these events out. We got a main event. Friend of the pod, Bry, who's fighting Saturday?
Curtis Razor Blaydes. So he's going to fight Alexander Volkov, which we spoke about. You get the big boys. I'm I'm really excited for this, obviously, because he's a friend of the pod, but this is going to be a good fight. Curtis is one of the greatest heavyweights in the division right now. Obviously, he's number 3. His ground game is insane, but his stand-up game is also very, very good. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because Volkov is so tall, so lanky, and he's going to be using his reach, obviously, with the kicks and the punches. But and I'm not biased. I felt this going into it, but I do think Curtis is going to win the fight. I think he's actually going to finish it. I don't see it going 5 rounds.
Yeah, I agree. I think Curtis is going to get the takedown, work him, and
He's
get
going to tire him out.
Yeah.
He did say it himself too. It's not going the distance.
Just to bring up something we talked about last week, the small octagon theory and how that's going to affect this fight, being 2 heavyweights fighting. Volkov uses his lankiness and his reach to stay on the outside when he fights. He likes to utilize kicks. He likes to utilize his reach.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to utilize distance. He's not going to have distance to work with in this smaller octagon. So this smaller octagon is going to favor Curtis Blaydes 110%. There's less distance for Curtis Blaydes to close. He's going to be able to close the distance very easily, get close up with Alexander, take him down, and pretty much work to his own game plan and ground and pound him for a TKO victory. So,
yeah, he's going to be pressuring him for that takedown. The small octagon it's going to work in Curtis's favor. If anything, it's definitely going to work against.
There's no surprise what he's going to do. He said it last week. There's no surprise to his game plan.
He broke it down for us last week, man.
Yeah. There's not much to break
fight.
down. He's going to take it down. He's going to beat you up, and that's it. He's going to throw a couple elbows in there.
And his style takes away Volkov's kicks also. Because the boy kicks him more often than he is for takedowns.
I'm curious to see if
catch a kick, take him down.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if he's going to be throwing a lot of leg kicks.
But that takes a weapon away, which helps Curtis.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, so.
Some other UFC news the last couple of days that real, like, you have to be on the Twitter sphere to see. And Eddie, thankfully, you joined Twitter. You want to plug it real quick before I continue?
At Eddie Roldan with no A, number 2. There you go.
Wait. No A.
Yeah, no way. It's Roldan 2.
Really?
Yeah.
You omitted the A and Roldan?
It's just being different for this one, man.
So you took away the A and you added a number 2.
Well, I couldn't just go glory right ahead.
So listen,
on that note,
if anybody wants their shot, shoot by Eddie. Go tweet him and let him know.
Taking requests.
And he's got his DMs.
I'll be more than happy.
Eddie has his DMs wide open.
It's like Cameo. Eddie was doing Cameo, but was shooting you shots.
Stop it.
But
anyways,
let's talk about it, Brian.
Yeah, it kind of came out of left field. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. It's just so random. Very, very random. Joe Silva, the former matchmaker for UFC, has a lot of heat on him right now. A lot of fighters are calling him out, saying he was pretty much a big a-hole. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Or a small a-hole.
Yeah, because, I mean, he is standing at 5'1". I mean, I have seen him in person. He's like a member of the Lollipop Guild from The Wizard of Oz. He's just a really small guy. But just a couple of names that I'm going to throw out there. Eddie Alvarez, Gray Maynard, John Fitch, Mike Pierce, Gerald Harris, Brendan Schaub. Now, obviously, they all have something in common. None of them are currently in the UFC right now, which when things like this happen, it always brings up a little bit of a red flag to me. Like,
but Joe Silva's not in the UFC anymore either.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, why
is he a Hall of Famer, though?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Right.
But why is nothing ever said when stuff goes on? I know people say because they're fearful of losing their jobs and this and that. But if it's something,
there you go, bingo. You just nailed it right on the head.
Brian,
I know I nailed it on the head, but I still don't understand. I know it's hard to put myself in their position, but if it's something to this extent, and obviously in a couple of days, look how many fighters are coming out. So it's probably extended to more than this. Probably to guys that are currently in the UFC that don't want to say anything right now. If there's so many people behind this, why not make it known?
Because they don't have the stroke to do it.
If there's that many people.
The fact is, a lot of this happened in the earlier days of the UFC, between, I would say, 2008 to 2015, maybe, whenever, Joe Silva left the UFC.
The glory days.
So a lot of these fighters that he was a complete dick to, they wanted to keep their job, and speaking out against your boss was instant grounds for being fired. And now you're no longer making money providing for your family. So
it's also safe now to say something because Joe Silva has no control.
yeah,
He's also the guy who's making their fights. So if you're gonna,
I get it.
Eddie Alvarez said it best in his story. Eddie Alvarez says he didn't say anything because he felt Joe Silva was one of the guys that controlled his career.
of course.
So why
They choose who you're fighting. They choose if you get a title shot or not. You know, they could put you on the prelims against a scrub, or they could put you on the main card against a contender.
And Joe Silva wouldn't have done this if he had no stroke in the UFC. If he had no power in the UFC, he wouldn't have done any of this.
Obviously.
So it goes both ways. So
he controlled every fighter's destiny with his decisions. He was the most important man in the UFC at the time.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
But-
I think Mike Pierce was the first one.
yes, I think
Started off.
I'm not
I
sure
believe,
who was the first
I
one.
think it was Mike Pierce. I think Eddie Alvarez was the one that really had the
because he was the biggest name, arguably.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, John Fitch, who obviously he's well known, champion
Yeah.
of the organization.
Eddie Alvarez was like 6 tweets long. I mean, it was a great story. I don't know if all of you read it or not, but
Absolutely, I have it here in front of me. John Fitch, he said, there's an excerpt from his tweet. We had just renegotiated a new contract, and Joe was pissed I was getting a pay bump. I only had one loss to GSP at the time. Joe said, fine, you'll get this number, but as soon as you lose, we're going to cut you and then re-sign you back for half as much.
That's crazy.
yeah, I read that one.
Come on now.
And if you think back to back then, John Fitch had a lot of contract issues with the UFC back then.
Yeah.
After his title fight. So it was,
Wow. You know which one bothered me a lot that you didn't even mention this one? Gerald Harris.
Yeah, he's on the list. I didn't read his tweet, but yeah.
Gerald Harris, if you guys
Elaborate.
I'll elaborate. Gerald Harris, if you remember, he was on The Ultimate Fighter, I believe season 7, right?
Rampage versus Forrest.
Forrest, yeah. And he was an exciting prospect. He didn't win tough that year, but he ended up making it to the UFC. And
Great slams.
yeah, great slams. Well, I'll get to that in a second. I remember because he lost tough. You know, Joe Silva was a complete dick to him and wasn't nice to him at all, and basically told him, like, the first fight you lose in the UFC, I'm cutting you. So his first 3 fights in the UFC, Gerald Harris actually won. I think he knocked them all out. Very impressive fashion, slams, impressive slams.
The first 3 out of 4.
Yeah, and then finally the last fight, I think he lost like a very close decision to somebody, like a really good fighter, and Joe Silva just cut him. I mean, how do you – someone who just came off of 3 straight impressive knockouts, he loses a close decision and you cut him? You never talk to him again? I mean,
look how many guys kept their jobs losing all these fights in a row also.
Dan Hardy.
Yeah.
Remember Dan Hardy? He went like a 7-fight losing streak. But now that I'm thinking about this, there's a fighter I can't think of his name, but I remember he was on a roll, and it was one fight that he lost, and he got cut. And I'm trying to think of who it was.
Well, think about back then when we were watching MMA then, and you see these guys get cut. It was so random. You find out like I'm an MMA junkie, and we talk about like why did this guy get cut, and now 5 years out, you find
something makes sense.
So you find the backstory out about it. It's crazy.
Yep, this little Napoleon complex man.
It
A lot
really
of
is.
issues, it seems like. A
man.
lot of issues.
People really do love getting drunk on their ego, man.
Joe Silva, if you want to come explain your side of the story, you're more than welcome to join us on the pod.
Well, we're hearing a lot about bad management through sports. I want to just give my endorsement to somebody that wants to move sports forward, and that's Big Cat from Part of My Take. He wants to be he's trying to take a commissionership over for a wiffle ball league, and I'm all for it, Big Cat. The gentlemen back you. We'll actually break down the games for you. We'll be announcers for you. We'll do anything.
Commentators.
We'll do anything you need. We'll manage teams. I love the idea that every team has to have a 300-pound kid with a big red bat. That's a fantastic idea.
Key.
I
have the perfect brother for that.
The perfect brother.
I think there should be somebody designated to be on the side with a piece of chalk, and they have to do the score with that. They should be able to mess up the score and have both teams argue with them at all times. I have ideas with your Big Cat, but we endorse you, we back you, and we hope you get this commissionership, Big Cat.
Also, I think it should definitely, without a doubt, be sponsored by Big League Chew. Big League Chew at every game.
Yes.
Every game.
Yes. And the quarter drinks also have quarter drinks in the Gatorade dispensers instead of Gatorade.
My man Gary over here going gangster with this one, man. The quarter drinks, man.
Big Cat, we back you. PFT, we back you guys both in all this. And part of my take crew, the gentlemen, you have your endorsement.
Oh,
we got you, brother. We got you.
All right. So, guys, coming up next, the Core 4.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Before we get to the Core 4 today, which is going to be something new, something special, which Pete whipped up, we got a little bit of WWE news, very minor, but it's also significant. So yesterday, Tuesday, the news broke that a developmental superstar had tested positive for coronavirus, and because of that, they were canceling all TV tapings.
Big Dick Johnson?
No. Kid show, Gary. And also, today, they resumed taping, which leads me to believe that they're really not taking this too seriously. Now, I had also read somewhere that up until this point, they weren't testing the talent for coronavirus. They weren't testing them at all. And, yeah, believe it or not. And I remember...
So wait a minute. I'm sorry to bother. So they
it.
weren't testing the talent, and they were letting, like, these numerous fans in, but not wearing masks either?
Well, this is the thing. I think the fans, for the most part, and definitely up until recently, I think those were developmental talent from the NXT, like the ones who weren't on TV yet. Because I definitely saw a couple of NXT guys I recognized, but they weren't regular fans from outside.
Well, Brian, when you mentioned this yesterday in the chat, I actually wanted to do some research because I wanted to see if I could see anything. Two things. One, that they said they don't want people wearing masks in the facility. I found a little strange, especially when you have guys like Vince McMahon, who's 80, and you guys, Ric Flair, who was about to die last year.
Yeah.
He's there. And also, so I looked at that, and I also wanted to get an idea of what it's like there lately, like the fans I watched. I went on YouTube and found the match, and then I scrolled and I saw like these people that don't look like wrestlers there, and then I did a little more research. And I found out that they're allowing people that are family of the talent and friends of the talent.
So the way they have it set up is on either side of the ramp, those people and the hard camera side and the other side, those are mostly NXT talent. But the back side, when you're looking straight at the stage and the TV, those are the family members. Those are the real fans, I guess, because you could see people who obviously are not wrestlers. But it kind of struck me as odd how quickly they resumed this taping, and I don't think they're taking this seriously. I mean, I know everything is lighting up, and things are back, opening back up with phase 1 and phase 2, even in some places. But for someone to test positive in that facility where they do all the taping, where they do all the training, and to find out that they're not testing everybody, I don't know. It makes me a little nervous, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
I agree with you on that, man. Oh man, I just don't know what Vince's thinking is throughout this whole thing.
A lot of people say he's out of touch.
It's maybe
they have the optics, like this story, gets out. People could twist the story, but still, there's some truth to it. You got guys that are testing positive, and you still running shows. It's not.
I know.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't know what to say about that, man.
That just shows that Dana White is doing it better than Vince McMahon.
Yeah, he has been. Absolutely. They how many times in a day did they test the fighters?
Like 3 times leading up to the fight.
Thank you. And so now listen, this is all what I'm reading. It doesn't mean it's the truth, but when there's smoke, there's fire. But they're saying that they haven't been testing everybody, which just boggles my mind.
That's stupid. That's really stupid.
I read that they haven't tested anybody. The only thing they did was the fever test. That's the only thing they did. The only thing they would do, they would check your fever. That's it.
Yeah, I remember around WrestleMania, they were saying anyone who has the fever, they would stay home.
Yeah, but you could have it and not have the fever, but I don't want to get into the details.
Yeah,
I know. But I'm saying they didn't do any real
single
testing.
thing, man. Like,
but you have a company like that, which is very and you're trying to do things every day. You should be testing,
Yeah, absolutely. But
when you claim to be a billion-dollar corporation, man,
I think it comes down to being cheap.
Yeah. Dana White said it. These guys, if you're willing to spend the money, you can pull this stuff off.
Vince is cheap.
Well, anyways, that's that. So now we're going to have the core four. So, Pete, do you want to explain it or should I explain it?
I think Pete should explain it because it's his $1 million. It's his
All right.
brainchild.
There goes that smile again, man. Oh, man.
So I sat up very late last night thinking about how I could shake up the core four a little bit. You know, we've done a lot of topics already, and they've all been great. Some of the best moments on this podcast. But I wanted to add
Bob
a little
Barker,
Danica Patrick.
Live.
But
Rich Franklin.
But I wanted to add another layer to the fabric here on what makes the core four fun. And that's the added element of the unexpectedness. So this week's core four, the topic is 4 people that you'd want on your side in a fight. If you're going to
brawl.
a big brawl, you're going to a big brawl, you need to bring 4 people with you. Who's those 4 people going to be? But we can't think of any answers because there's 18 people that are going to be listed in front of us, and we have to choose from that 18 list. So before we get to that, I am going to randomize the list, and now more than ever, your spot in the draft means more than anything.
Well, you're really only you're going to randomize 1, 3, and 4. We know Eddie's getting 2. So
All right.
This podcast is sponsored
I already see
by
the rig
Incidente.
happen. And
Wow, no nicknames either.
No, this is serious this week.
Oh, wow.
Brian first, Pete second, Gary third, and Eddie fourth, which is very, very freaking weird because actually that's how I wrote it on my paper before. Brian,
It's
Pete,
rigged.
Gary,
It's rigged.
Eddie.
this is
Bro,
rigged, man.
It's like the Ewing draft.
How weird is that,
Come
bro?
on,
I'm about to
man.
leave. I'm going
This
home.
is the Ewing draft.
See you
Shut your
later.
mouth, Gary.
I'm
What?
ahead.
How did I predict that before, man?
Oh, come on.
Pete
That's
is the Astros are
ridiculous.
randomizing orders.
Oh,
You
man.
know what? I'm done. I'm not even going through with this segment. I'm
He had a trash can as he was doing the randomizer.
Oh, man. This is – what kind of website is this? Is this spam or something, man? Come on, man. This is – what's the IP address?
Brian is
All
not
right.
complaining about this one bit.
Man, this is
All right.
I know what my first pick is.
That shit is crazy. But let's bring up the group of 18 combatants that we're going to be choosing from here.
Some real combatants over here. And,
All right.
Everyone can see the group nice and clear?
God, look at this. This is ridiculous, man.
Dun, dun, dun. Brian, you are on the clock with your first pick.
All right. So my number 1 pick here. Now, it's a little fun fact. A lot of people don't actually know this, but this person actually had the coronavirus. They got over it. They got beat it, and the coronavirus is now recovering. I'm picking Chuck Norris.
Oh,
Damn.
oh, damn it, man. Oh.
So Brian is the color purple.
Oh,
He
yeah.
chooses Chuck Norris with the first pick. That's a great pick, Brian. That is a great pick.
That's
Thank
deep.
you.
So I have second pick, and I have a lot to choose from here. I am the color blue.
Hey, Gilbert.
Oh, man, this is tough. This is tough.
This is the most ridiculous core four ever. This is ridiculous, man. Come on.
I'm going with The Rock. You know, physical specimen right there. You know, I would have went with Tyson, but he's getting a little old, even though he's still in great shape. But I'm going with Rock just from the sheer size of him, man. He's very intimidating if you see him up close.
He's a funny guy, man.
And he's a funny guy. He might, you know, make everyone laugh, and then everyone stops fighting, and then we could just go home. But there you go, Gary. You're on the clock.
Oh, man, this is tough because I have guys that I really do like. I'm big fans of on here, but I gotta stay smart. I'm in the alley. I'm going Bruce Lee.
God damn it.
The
There you
guy
go,
can take
Gary.
as many people as possible. He
Damn.
is the guy. He is the man that made MMA. Bruce Lee. He can take over multiple guys at once. I'm going Bruce Lee.
That's
Now
good.
the draft begins.
Now it
Yeah.
begins.
All right.
Gary's the color red, by the way, and Eddie's the color green.
Shout out to Chicago Bulls and Patty Mahomes.
Not for nothing. These are all great first picks for all of you guys, man.
Wait,
I'm not gonna-
Eddie, not to cut you off. So now with the new format, how are you doing this? Are you still going 4 through 1, or are you going 1 through
No. No, I think I'm gonna go with the natural 1 through 4 on this one, man.
It's good, Eddie. You have 2 picks here. You have 2 picks here.
Yeah,
you bastard.
This is quite the selection I have over here, man. I mean, who wouldn't want any of these guys in their fucking corner, man? I mean, let's be honest, man. But I'm with my first pick, considering that we are all 4 kids from Brooklyn over here.
Damn.
We all grew up in Brooklyn.
Damn.
Are you kidding me?
But get that shit out of here, man. No, get that shit out of here, man.
I thought you were picking Jay-Z.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Well, I think that means Red Hook, Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
All right, but like I was saying, man, we're all from Brooklyn in here. But considering I'm from, all right, come on. This is man. Get that out of here.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Considering I'm the closest to his old neighborhood, me being from East New York and this man being from Brownsville, I'm gonna go with Mike Tyson.
Damn it!
There you go.
Damn
Great
it!
pick.
Damn it!
I
Mike
just want
Tyson.
to throw out there, I love how Eddie gives a preamble before each pick.
I mean, that's how everyone should do it, in my opinion.
I love it. I love it.
And now for my second pick, I'm gonna go a little bit more traditional on this one. Now, I'm not gonna lie, man. This guy had himself a pretty damn good resume as far as career-wise. I mean, he's pretty much faced the best, man. I can't deny it, man.
He's gonna take my
Jeremy.
2 picks.
He's picking Jeremy Giambi. I
listen.
didn't see this coming.
He's arguably the best, but I have my doubts with certain fights on this guy.
You're taking my 2 boys, man. Damn.
I'm gonna go with Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, damn.
My God.
I think Eddie's in the lead right now.
Nah, man, I'm telling you, man, Floyd Mayweather.
You know what?
I've talked so much shit about him throughout the years, man. But
I'm going to say this, though. I think that's actually a bad pick because he's just going to run.
Oh.
He's not going to land anything.
Eddie, you took my two favorite guys on that list.
man,
Gary,
this is getting hard, man. This is getting hard, man.
now it's getting hard because most of the great fighters are gone.
Well,
most of them.
Not all of them.
Honestly,
most of them.
I still like what I see.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Gary Busey. But go guys.
Gary, you're on the clock.
I'm going with the guy who, if he fought Floyd Mayweather, and I'm a big Floyd Mayweather fan, but if he fought Floyd Mayweather in a real fight, he'd mess him up. I'm going with Conor McGregor.
Oh shit! I thought you were going Butterbean with that, Gary.
Listen. That was an honest mistake, though, man.
My bad.
Honest mistake.
I'm going with Conor. Conor's got those MMA skills. He's got the left-handed death. Say what you want about him, but in a street fight, there's going to be nobody double leg takedowning him like Khabib. There's going to be nobody to choke him out like Nate Diaz. And he's not going to be in a traditional boxing match like Floyd. And he's fucking crazy. So I got Bruce Lee and Conor McGregor.
Not bad, man.
Man, all right. So officially, a lot of the top fighters are gone now. This makes my job a lot more difficult.
I don't know. There's still a
How do
couple
you
of
guys feel?
Yeah, man.
You know what? My last pick was just based on the size factor. I'm going to have to continue that since, I'm going with the all-size team right now. I'm going with Clay Matthews.
I think you're going Butterbean or Rikishi.
God, man.
You have the Rock and Clay Matthews rolling up on you in an alleyway. I mean, a lot of people are going to get scared. I'm sorry.
All right.
Sorry, man.
All right.
After Brian goes, it's going to get tough. Because I can
Yeah.
see 2 picks for Brian.
So Pete's going with the visual intimidation,
Yeah, I mean, that's the only strategy I could take at this
which
point.
I like. I like because if you roll up to a whole bunch of guys with a bunch of monsters, you're going to look like the Monstars from
Exactly.
Space Jam. However, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, I like the actual fight itself. And people always say the best offense is a good defense. And
I see what you do. I see where you're going.
in street fights,
Oops.
whoa,
My bad.
in street fights, jiu-jitsu is one of the most underrated aspects of a fight, and I'm going with Royce Gracie.
There you go. All right. Chuck
All
Norris and Hoist. Nice.
And my next pick, oh man, as much as I truly truly want to pick Rikishi. Just because of that picture alone. I mean, look at him. I'm going to have to go with a different man. And that's Amanda Nunes, the pound-for-pound greatest fighter
Oh, come on. That's,
right now in UFC.
That's solid.
I don't want to see her in a dark alley.
You got that right.
Very nice, though. If you're on
Listen, if you see her in a dark alley, just pull out a Modelo out of your pocket, man. Like, you'll be all right, man.
Oh,
She's
Like,
Brazilian.
Jeez. All right. So I guess I'm on the clock again. So sticking in line with my size factor, but I'm also going to add someone who can actually fight on top of being a massive beast of a person. I'm going with Butterbean.
Oh, that was my next pick.
That was the
man.
last, one of the good fighters.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Fighters.
between, as far as the size factor goes, it was between him or Rikishi, but Butterbean could actually fight really good. I'm not sure what Rikishi's skills are as far as fighting, but
Put a little ass on it.
unless you get like a stink face in the alleyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
but
That's
I'm going with Butterbean.
All right. I'm going with I gotta go with the crazy factor I got on my group.
Oh, God.
I'm going with somebody that knows when he's got a crew with him, he's gonna be the crazy one. He's the wild cowboy of the group. I'm going with Joe freaking Pesci. Right there.
That's a little too wild, though,
Gary, truly, I thought you were going with Gilbert there.
I'm going
Like, honest to God, I thought you were going to say Gilbert that time.
Nah, I'm going
Friend of the
with,
pod, Gilbert.
I'm going with Joe Pesci. He won't stop until Joe Pesci won't stop until he's done and he's on top. Imagine him and Conor McGregor coming after. Those guys don't give a hell about anything.
And to Gary's credit, Joe Pesci might come strapped with a gun or two.
Yeah, he's coming
Very
strapped.
true. Very true,
He's coming
man.
strapped, Joe Pesci.
And he's an avid cigar smoker, too, man.
Eddie, I don't know where you're going with this.
Yeah, this,
I know my next two moves automatically, my man.
Oh, shit. All right,
Eddie,
these
just
are
to
the
let
last
you
two
know,
picks.
you can't pick Danica Patrick twice. I just want to let you know that.
That's not gonna happen. I'm making,
Wait,
I'm making an educated list on this one, man.
Eddie, you got to go with the distraction factor. You bring Danica with you to the fight, they all might get distracted, you know?
I'm not leaning towards her, but for my next pick, I'm leaning towards the size, because this one does matter, man. This man will be so mad at all of y'all for this, man. Not only did he do it for The Rock, the fact that you picked The Rock over.
No, Pete.
Oh,
right.
My bad.
Right.
I got Rikishi on this pick.
There we go.
Okay.
Rikishi,
I
all
got
right.
the speed, I got the power, and I got, I don't know, just for being a little too cool over here with Rikishi, man.
That's a solid team, Eddie.
I got him with that. And for my last pick, I'm going to go with the Phenom. I really am going to go with the Phenom on this one, man.
Gilbert?
This person was not only
Oh, wrong one.
a main attraction, but this person was such a man. Like, the reason why everybody came to watch him, man. Like, it's amazing, man. Like, they came in just flocks over here.
Are you going with Drake here? I'm a
I
little
go with
confused.
Jeremy Giambi.
No, man.
Jeremy
I'm going. No. The Pioneer, Danica Patrick on my last. I'm going with Danica Patrick. Man.
Wow. Wait, hold on.
Listen, not only do I have power, but I got speed, literally and figuratively on this one, man.
And he got looks. He got looks, too.
Yo, distractions count, man. Good point, Pete. Good
Good
point.
point. Thank you.
Eddie, that was the youngest person you took on your group. Everybody else was in the 50s almost.
I'm sure. Well,
All right. So you're gonna need somebody that can go through adversity. That's a former champion. That can take criticism. That can take a beating and keep on ticking. I'm going Gilbert.
I knew it.
All right, it's official. Gary's team lost.
Listen.
Recap your team, Gary. Recap your team. Come on.
I got Bruce Lee, Conor McGregor,
That's perfect.
Joe Pesci,
No.
and Gilbert.
No.
no, man.
Right. Listen.
Oh, man.
You started off really good.
Listen to me. Gilbert will be a distraction. He'll throw a spear at Danica Patrick.
How dare you?
All right,
Oh,
and he'll get beaten down, and he'll just keep that. And he's a former champion. All right, so I'm going Gilbert here. I feel safe with that pick.
Oh,
Tougher than Drake. I'll say that. Gilbert will beat Drake in a fight.
oh God, man.
I got no objections to that, Gary. None whatsoever, man.
Like, where do I even go with these last 4 people? Like,
Oh man, you have. I mean, you got some good options here, man.
are you being sarcastic?
I might be a little serious right now, man.
I mean, I'm leaning towards Jeremy Giambi, but I'm afraid he's just gonna fall down in the middle of the fight and not be able to get back up.
I know I'm going with this one.
And he might be shriveled up right now without the steroids. That was a big.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh man. Yeah, Gary Busey's he's a crazy fuck too. So.
But he's like
Just-
80.
Just think about
80.
Mr. Franco with your next pick, man. Just saying, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go Drake. He's the youngest one of the group.
Oh, boo.
Listen, I don't like Drake. I really don't.
I'll tell you what. I picked Gilbert. Gilbert can definitely beat up Danica Patrick and Drake. So right there, I feel
Well, I mean, that's not
Let's
saying
start
much. Gary.
disrespecting over here, man. How dare you, man? Oh,
right there. I feel good about my pick.
please.
Yeah, so I went Drake just for simply being the youngest person out of the 4 remaining.
Oh, who cares about age, man? Come on.
All right.
So, sorry to do this to you, Brian. Go ahead. You have 3 remaining people.
No,
I
please.
know where it's
fine.
going. I know where it's going.
God, I gotta be honest. This is much tougher than you might think, and I have my reasons.
Oh, please. This is easy.
After much deliberation,
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the toughness factor.
Toughness.
Okay. I'm going with toughness here, and this person was in a very, very, very bad motorcycle accident
Oh, I see
and
where you're going.
survived.
Yeah.
Gary
And if
Busey.
I'm going with
Lethal
Gary
weapon,
Busey.
baby. Lethal weapon.
Yeah, I was gonna go with Jeremy Giambi because I know he would show up with a bat, but
He don't know how to swing it, but that's his problem.
exactly,
He'll miss and he'll
So
fall
I gotta
down.
go with Gary Busey. He could take a beating like Vinnie Mac.
All right. I'm not confident about Gilbert versus Gary Busey as I am about the other two, but I still feel good about my Gilbert pick.
Yeah, so let's look at some of these matchups. You got Gilbert versus Gary Busey. You got Rikishi versus Butterbean. Yeah, you have Joe Pesci versus Clay Matthews.
Oh God, that's a
No, excuse me,
mismatch.
Joe Pesci versus Danica Patrick. That's where I'm going with that one.
And
I like my squad. I like my squad. Shit.
Hold on. It gets good. You have The Rock
what's the
versus
over and
Conor
under on
McGregor.
that?
The Rock and Conor McGregor. You got Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. That's sick.
Yeah, that is.
You got Mike Tyson and Hoist Gracie. And Amanda Nunes and Butterbean. I mean, these are some
Yeah.
sick fights.
It really is. It really is.
I mean, I don't know who's Drake fighting. Oh, who's Drake fighting?
Amanda Nunes wins that, though, man.
I'm fairly confident in my squad, man.
I
The
like
Rock.
my squad. Bruce
I like
Lee-
my team.
I like my team too.
Honestly, I would love to have my
Perfect
team on the
fine with
pod.
my team, man. This was good.
The Rock, Clay Matthews, Butterbean, and Drake. I'll take it. I'll
I'll
take
take
it.
Poor Jeremy Giambi and Jay-Z. They don't get drafted.
They don't get their undrafted free agents, man.
But Jay-Z's old. Jay-Z's
I don't
old.
know who has the funnier team, Eddie or Gary. This is tough.
But let's
What is so funny about my team, man? Come on.
After Mike Tyson, you have Danica Patrick and Rikishi. That's
and,
hilarious.
bad.
Look,
I
that's
got
hilarious.
athletes on my team, man. What are you
and
talking
they're
about?
all old. It's not their
Yeah.
prime. It's right now.
Oh my God.
Bruce Lee doesn't die. Like
Bruce Lee
Wow.
doesn't die. Bruce Lee doesn't die.
I like my team. Joe Pesci's not coming alone, man. If you know what I mean.
That was solid. That was fun.
That was fun, man. Damn, I can't believe nobody picked Jay.
Looking like that with that hair? Who's picking him?
Man.
He looks so confused.
Looks like
I love it, man.
Looks like
I
Cowboy
love
Joe with the wig.
I would have picked Jay-Z ahead of Drake.
I don't know about that.
I would have picked. I don't know where I would pick Jeremy Giambi. Jeremy Giambi was like.
Bro, I love these pictures of them. Look at Clay Matthews' face.
No, Rikishi has the best face. If you could erase that X and zoom in, that's the greatest picture.
No, Tyson's is good too.
Look at Rikishi. Look at him. He's so happy. He's just happy to be there.
Oh man, this was fun. Like, can we? What are you doing?
What?
My like I keep saying, if you guys have, I hope this opens up the idea for 4 suggestions. If people have them, comment them anywhere you could. Message us on the side.
You know what? I was thinking, Gary, guys, gentlemen, we should do Q&As. We should have people ask questions and we answer them on the pod. We'll say your name. We'll give you a shout out.
Listen, if you want to comment on YouTube, comment or message on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, text us personally the questions. Go for it. We are more than happy to. But anybody have anything else to say or plug before we end this? Eddie?
Gilbert was a terrible fucking choice, man. I'm sorry, man.
All your guys are collecting Social Security checks right now.
Oh, shut up. It's Social Security.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, a little too old to be fighting. I'm just saying, all right?
MLB, let's get the season started, MLB. That's all I'm going to say.
Hopefully when
Signed, sealed, delivered, man. Let's do this, man.
Hopefully when we talk to you guys next week, we got some really good news. And I think that we will. I think next week we'll have a more uplifting podcast. But
And hopefully we're working on a couple of guests to bring to you guys next week.
We are
stay
some big
tuned.
names.
Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this as usual.
Yeah, and hopefully soon we'll have the 4 of us together for a pod. And very, very closely we're working on that. But thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was probably the most fun episode we've done. From top to bottom. So please like, follow, and subscribe. And always remember, we are the gentlemen.
And
This is the podcast.
Yes.
Danica Patrick can get speared by Goldberg.
Oh, please.
I just realized, though, she could run everybody over with the car.
Hey, thank you.
Good point.
Indy 500 over here.
She
man.
never wins. She never wins.
That's not the point, man.
Well, let me ask you something, Eddie. Since you're a NASCAR aficionado, do the girls race with the men? Like, is it
Yeah.
it's one big, yeah?
It's all co-ed, man.
I never watched.
It's news to me.
Yeah.
Etsedente, peace out.
Peace out later.
Peace out later.
Yo, from the start, I'ma finish it. Yo, and from the start, I'ma finish it. Cause I'm a running man on a mission. From the start, I'ma finish it.